Is wearing a hat all right? Is it make my? Is it just a shadow on me?
Depending on how long you waffle on, I'm halfway through. I might start wearing a hat.
Yeah, okay. We can swap.
Yeah. Are we talking to the camera? Who are we talking to?
I didn't bring my beer. We don't have beer, do we? Right now to talk.
Do we
and have
need
a
beer?
Like, no. Right.
I can go get beer. And do you want me to get a hat?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Smart, I think.
All right.
I am Andrew Cooper. I am the co-founder of the Wild Beer Company.
And I'm Brett Ellis, and I'm also the co-founder of the Wild Beer Company.
Mine was a mixture of terror and excitement. The terror of leaving relative security to go and do something for ourselves, and the sheer excitement of wanting to create something that pushed boundaries, there was something different in a marketplace, and something, ultimately we really believed in. Was a really exciting place to be.
I think one of the big thing for me was wonder of just an unknown. That kind of shows a sense of naivety, but also wonder. I think it's a really good motivator. Really, how far can we push ourselves? How far can the industry push itself? We didn't have lots of keg available in bars. Like, to sell keg was a deal because there wasn't any available lines to sell them onto. You couldn't buy CO2 in bulk. You couldn't buy hops from multiple suppliers. We could only buy them really from one supplier and they were great. They're good supplier, and still work with them. But the whole industry, from pubs to production to suppliers to international sales, everything was evolving and being created. So that sense of wonder was a big motivator of how far can we go.
For me, it was on the sales side of things. It was literally being able to take product in and find out if it was good enough, that people wanted it, and it's a massively humbling thing to go and sell your product to someone and then walk in and see it on a bar. I remember our first events in Bristol and London, and just the sheer experience of seeing our beers in the bar and getting friends along to come and drink them. That was an amazing experience.
That was really good. One of the first ones in Bristol, that was at the Colston Yard, I think. Yeah. So the Colston Yard was one of the first White Horse at Parson Green. Yeah. In London.
Yeah.
And the other
the first Indie Man.
Yeah.
Was the first time we took our beer out for people to drink, and being at kind of the breaking of new boundaries with beer festivals and our beer selling out incredibly quickly. Yeah. That was an amazing experience.
That was crazy, just to have people I respected, people I was asking questions and I was learning from, coming up and going, "Oh, I heard you have some lambic type beer on," and that's just such a normal thing these days. And back then, we were one of the first. I wouldn't say we were the first. We were definitely one of the first having sour beer and around, and that was one of the first times in my life people, getting excited about in industry speak. And that was pretty neat. Very encouraging. But my goals, we had goals that were from the making and creative side. We set out to make 9 different beers before Christmas. And Joel helped me on these, but fresh, Scarlet Fever, Bliss, Epic Saison, Ninkasi, Wildebeest, Madness IPA, and Modus Operandi. So those are all. There's a few of those that are still standing in our offer. Ninkasi, Wildebeest at times, Modus Operandi, Madness. So that was a pretty cool goal that we definitely succeeded in.
I think we definitely succeeded in our initial goals. We brewed those beers before Christmas. We got through our first year. We sold beer to lots of different places. I think what we've seen over the last few years is a real kind of evolving and changing industry and business and how we do things. So I think we definitely succeeded in lots of our original goals, and I think they're now it's a different place and needs new goals, and there are new goals and new challenges, both from a business point of view but also from a beer point of view. When we started off, there were very few breweries who were driven by creativity. Now there are absolutely loads and loads of them, and any style of beer you kind of care to think of has probably been brewed within the last month by someone. It's a very different place in which to work out what creative is right now, and where we sit in our kind of authentic styles of beer and things we want to do versus what's going on in the market at any one time.
One of the challenges, and that goes back to that goal of originally we had something where we were trying to make beer and drink beer differently, to the standard, to the norm of British craft beer. To the norm of British beer is where beer's value is pretty much wrapped up in the volume that you can drink, but in craft beer, with alcohol percentages skyrocketing above 10%, or bitterness levels being really, really high, or intensity of fruit and just sourness being really high, the value of those beers are not in the amount that you can consume, it's in the experience you can have, and the environment you drink it in. And initially we just had to make good quality, well balanced, imaginative drinks. And after 4 years of that, there's a whole lot of other brewers being in the same way, so we've got to kind of adapt and mold and change, because being different, just being creative, just making good quality beer doesn't necessarily cut it through and capture the imagination of everybody like it used to. We've got to always be pushing ourselves and raising our own bar, and then raising the bar of those around us, and that's a never-ending cycle and energy.
My favourite creation, I mean, I've got loads and there are moments. I think, something that really stands out for me would be our very first Modus Operandi, but one that I love the whole kind of experience of was Yadekai, which was a collaboration between chefs and brewers and between chefs and brewers and distributors, and it was all about creating something that was really unique, but kind of crossed what different chefs did and different brewers did and how they thought about things. So we took as a starting place the chef Tim Anderson, who owns a restaurant called Namban and is a Japanese chef in style who won MasterChef a few years back, and we used sake as the drink of inspiration behind the beer. And then another Scottish chef we brought ingredients from, who loved using sea buckthorn. So we got some Scottish forage sea buckthorn and added that into the beer. We used some Japanese ingredients in the form of yuzu, which we both love, and then got creative with seaweed and rice and made just a unique liquid that to me always stands out as creativity coming from different sources and then kind of you and your team putting their beer making spin on that to bring all those ingredients together and make something that in the end just tastes amazing. And that to me was a special moment in our history, I think.
Yeah.
Deck chair.
I was just going to say the same.
It used this rank flower called an elderflower. Don't use it. Don't do it. Don't go there. We combined it with strawberries. It sounds nice. Nah, it wasn't.
Yeah. But I think we could do it again, but do it better, given what we know now.
Deck chair 2. The
Deck chair.
return.
The lounger.
The lounger. Nice.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a good example of like, we made something, it didn't quite work. Years later, looking back, and we can now with we generally brew 50 to 65 different recipes a year, and so years later, looking back at deck chair, going, why did I make it that way? Surely we should have used like 5 times that amount of strawberry, and we probably could have dosed in the elderflower in a different way, or collaborate, or got more elderflower all at the same time, that kind of stuff. So it's really neat to be able to revisit some of these and make them better over time and learn from those.
But let's not revisit that one. Can we revisit some others instead?
That's right, yeah. Okay.
There's been many, and going back to those days, the early days of seeing our beer on the bar for the first time, there's been things like winning awards and those kind of moments, but actually the one that really stands out for me is Beer and Cheese Festival that we do every year, when we see a couple of thousand people here on site, and our tiny little farm hidden away in the arse end of Somerset. All these people come to us for an amazing day, and every year our brilliant team deliver that absolutely incredibly, and people just, the feedback we get is so positive, it's so great. I just love showing off what we can do, what people drink that day, what they eat, and what they experience is just amazing to me.
My proudest moment is got to be like looking outside of me and looking at the impact and the space that we've created and the people involved. And a beer like Everstone that we're drinking now is a great example of that, where this beer was really, we would not have made this beer without Sam Trimpton, our head brewer, and it uses a brand new hop called Nectaron, and that hop is actually uses some really cool hop products called like CO2 extraction, which gets every ounce of it out of the hop of that, and we can get new levels of aroma, new levels of flavor and efficiency as a brewery, and we wouldn't be able to do so many things without the imprint of our team, and to know that the space we've created is a space for all these people to thrive and make their own lives work, and to be an important part of their personal ladder in life. It's pretty proud.
Favourite beer from the birthday box. So you told me to say Ninkasi X. I'm going to say Ninkasi X. The reason being, that beer was very, there's a great story behind the original Ninkasi for me personally. Brett created a beer that was just perfect for the celebration of me having my son, and we wanted to make something that would fit those special occasions. We call Ninkasi a celebratory beer. So the challenge for Brett this time around was to create, something that took Ninkasi a little bit further to celebrate our 10th year, or 10 years. And what did you do?
Yeah, I made it 10% more better.
Okay.
No, it's 10% alcohol, so it's boosted the strength just a bit, just to really get into that celebration territory of alcohol. And then also we've hand selected apple juice from a farm that, I don't know exactly how many miles away, but it's very
It's within
close.
10, isn't it?
Within 10 miles.
Yeah.
Within 10 miles.
I see what you did there.
Yes, yeah. And instead of we put that apple juice into the beer, we've added it at the end of fermentation, and that allows for more aromatics and less muddled apple, not a cooked apple character, where currently the apple in Ninkasi goes in with the boil of the beer.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit of a cooked apple character. So this Ninkasi X is a bit more vibrant, a bit more zingy, and
it's tasting amazing. I'm loving how it's tasting. I can't wait for people to try this.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
I think that in 10 years, where will we be?
Mars?
Mars, yeah. Dehydrating beer, sending it to Mars.
Yeah, could be.
We'll be pushing our boundaries, our own boundaries, and bringing those along with us. Don't know where the industry will be, how, and that's a big challenge, is to stay not just relevant, but actually stay. One thing we've learned over the years is stay one step ahead, not 5. And so where will we be 10 years from now? Hopefully we'll be 10 steps ahead of today, 1 step a year.
Yeah.
Just not too far, because that's when you're just a bit wacky, and you can't bring people on the journey if you're too many steps ahead.
We spent many months actually debating how we wanted to celebrate it, what we wanted to do, and came up with the idea that actually the way that we should do it was by brewing beers and doing what we love to do. I think one thing we've learned over those 10 years is do what you do best. So we've got creative. We've taken some new beers, some beers that are inspired by old beers, and some of the kind of our customers' favourites over those years. I think this box is about being really thankful for us to all the people who have supported us over those last 10 years and bought our beers and enjoyed our beers. So creating a box where we kind of wanted to make sure that whatever you liked that we made, kind of 60-70% of this box was guaranteed to be great for you. There's 1 or 2 things in this box that are going to push people's boundaries a little bit. If you're not so keen on big stouts, or you're not so keen on big sours, there's 1 or 2 beers in there that are going to push the boundaries a little bit. But actually this is a box of great beers, really drinkable, exciting, fun beers that fit loads of occasions.